In my late 20s, I found myself working in Kununurra. I shaved all my hair off. We were smoking a bit of pot, drinking beer. It was a hot Friday afternoon. I was looking forward to the weekend. By midday, I couldn't stand the sun being on my face any longer. So I put my hat back on again. I leaned in to pick a mango, and I didn't see the power line.
After several doctor's appointments, needles and vaccinations, I took my prescription drugs and I headed to Africa, where I didn't really give too much thought to the mozzies that I squashed into bloodstains.
The night I died, it was party night, and I'd organised our drugs a day in advance. My best mate and I were all pumped, and we hit it really hard. We stopped on the way to the party to spice up the night and go candy flipping. Candy flipping is where you take cocaine, heroin, LSD and ecstasy, you mix it all together, inject, and boom, you're the life of the party.
I'm just really lucky they found me in time. That power line sent 22,000 volts of electricity through my forehead, which exploded through my body, melted my skin, and shot out my hands. I blew the tyre out on the cherry picker and cut the power off to an entire town.
I can't recall what happened next. I can't recall how I got to the hospital. I think I had a dream that I drove and that my mate was nowhere to be seen. But really, I can only remember waking up in the hospital 2 months later from an induced coma with tubes and all sorts of shit hanging out of my arms. But first, I thought I was just having a dodgy acid trip.
I've just got thoughts going through my head. African bush hospital, African bush hospital. I'm gonna get AIDS. I don't want them to touch me. I don't want anything put in me. I'm just gonna, I can fight this out. I can survive it without any medication. I don't need anything. The doctor squats down in front of me, looks me dead in the eye, and he says to me, "You've got type 7 cerebral malaria. If you don't cooperate with me right now, you're gonna be dead within 30 minutes.
I'd sustained 11 deep stab wounds to my head, neck, chest and back. But my worst injury was to my spinal cord, which was severed at the base of my neck, leaving me as a quadriplegic.
The main injury was to my forehead. It was burnt and charred to the bone. My irises were shattered. I suffered nerve damage in my hand and my arms were burnt. Mostly, though, was superficial damage.
In the emergency room, I was revived, but suffered a further 2 heart attacks and was clinically dead for around 3 minutes while doctors peeled the skin off my face.
My head was so swollen, I couldn't open my eyes or talk or anything. The doctors were trying to figure out if I was actually okay, so they were asking me questions and they were getting me to write the answers in the air. When they asked me what I felt like, I wrote beer. Not even a big beer drinker.
The injection felt like they had literally tipped gasoline and set it on fire in my veins, and it just burnt the inside of my body. That's when I knew I was going to die.
Oh, I felt really trapped in hospital. I had a lot of time to reflect. I felt like I'd been plucked out of my life and that nothing was ever going to be the same.
Apparently, I died for quite some time, and then, as if a miracle happened, I just woke up and sat bolt upright in the bed. You know, a lot of people have asked me if there's anything out there or if I heard anything, saw anything. Well, is there a God? Is there an afterlife? Is there a heaven? Is there a hell? There's nothing. I'd survived, but it had continued to just destroy me internally.
Never forget the first time I looked in a mirror. I thought, I'm never going to find a man to love me. Just thought I looked like a mangled piece of chopped up flesh. For 2 years I wore an orthotic mask. I was only allowed to take it off for half an hour a day. It was really constricting and confronting. Always wondering what people were thinking.
I really disconnected from reality for about 6 months.
For a long time there, I hated myself. And I tried to commit suicide a number of times by driving my chair out in front of traffic or even trying to wheel myself into a pool.
I just remember looking at myself and being disgusted at what I saw. In the reflection, I just saw a very hollow shell of myself that felt quite lost.
Then Dave turned up. He was a guy I met in India a couple of years before, and we had an awesome connection. All that fear of being attractive to a man just went away. He still thought I was lovely.
While recovering in hospital, a woman was brought into my room who had been hit by a car. We became close.
The operation in Asia wasn't really a success. I can't walk, but, you know, I can move 2 fingers, and that's enough for now.
A couple of months after I was discharged from hospital, I learnt the woman that had shared my room had died. That loss really put my life into perspective.
I'm on the other side of it all now. Got Dave and I'm a mum, and I'm proud of my scars. I got 22,000 volts of electricity through my head, and I'm fine.
Most people just don't know how lucky they are. They really don't.
Could have been a lot worse.